Hey G.I. Joe fans, Joe Motion Videos 82 here. It is time for another G.I. Joe toy review. And today we're going to be doing something special. This is the results from our Choose Your Own review. The vote for the Choose Your Own review. And the Star Brigade Destro won. I had 3 action figures up, and Destro was the one that was selected by you guys, and I could see why. He is pretty cool. Agnetha LaDuff wanted to hear the story behind Destro, and every one of my toys does have a different story behind it. So this one, excuse me, I really like. I only had one Destro at the time. That was the version 2, the Iron Grenadier Destro, which is an absolutely amazing action figure. Hasbro did a killer job with him. He's a deluxe action figure because he did come with a vehicle. He came with the despoiler. I reviewed him about 3 years ago, I believe, 3 or 4 now. And I might review him again later, because the reviews back then stunk. And as you're beginning, you're trying to find your groove, and I did. I found my groove. So anyway, he was my only Destro, so I was wanting to get more Destros as they came out. Version 1 is always going to be my Destro, my favorite one. I thought he was so cool as a kid, and I still do as an adult. He was one that I played with as a kid with my friends, and you know, he was in the cartoons, so that was the one I grew up with, so I have that emotional attachment to him. Even though the version 2 I got when I was still a kid, I was a teenager. There's sentimental attachment to that because it was a Christmas present, but version 1 will always be my Destro, and I'm sure a lot of collectors will agree with you, or agree with that. So Star Brigade the Star Brigade Destro was released in 1993 as a part of Series 12. He was version 4, so he came right after. Hold on a second. He came right after the Battle Corps Destro, which had the same design as version 2. So when I saw, or version 1, so when I saw the Battle Corps Destro, it was hands down, I'm grabbing him because he's the closest to version 1 I could get. So I believe he was released in 92, may have been 93, but he was still on the pegs in 93. I remember that because I bought him in 93. So there were 2 Destros available theoretically at that time. But the Star Brigade was discontinued in 1994. He was a part of the Armor Tech series, which was pretty decent. You know, they had a big robot, which you could still find, but it's hard to find him complete. And I might get him. It's kind of expensive, but if I could find a good deal on one that's mostly complete, I'll do a build on your budget kind of thing with him, and just slowly add parts as I could afford it. But the Armor Tech line was pretty cool. You know, you had Joes that were going into outer space. They came out with some really cool vehicles for that. Especially the action figures were just amazing. So that really appealed to both of my sides. You know, so I like science fiction, and I like G.I. Joe, or like military toys. But for some of the people that were hardcore military style G.I. Joes, this kind of rubbed them the wrong way, and I could see why. You know, being empathetic, if you, I'm looking at it from that aspect. Yeah, GI Joe is military. Why are they going into space? That it kind of cheapened it for them, and but for me that appealed to the science fiction side. So yeah, I had GI Joe that would go into outer space, and if I were a child at that time, I would have just eaten that up, man. That would have been great. Uh, so during this time, around 94, we know GI Joe, the brand was starting to wane. It was not doing so well, so they were trying to compete with a very tough market. As you guys know, we were saturated with toys in the 80s and 90s, and that was the golden age of toys. Um, so if there was a cartoon, they had a toy for it. If somebody flatulated, they had a toy for it. And yes, there were fart toys. Um, if if it could be made into a toy, they did it. Um, Toys were being made for movies, TV shows, you name it. If it was in pop culture, they made a toy for it. So the GI Joe brand was really, really just grasping at water. If you can imagine going underwater and you're desperately trying to get your head above water, you know that your hands will just sink right through it and you're trying to pull your body up. That's how I pictured them trying to stay afloat. Um, so they came out with the Star Brigade line. In my opinion, it was competing against Alien versus Predator because they had the Space Marines fighting aliens. Well, what did they have? They had Army, GI Joe fighting against the Lunatrax aliens. So it kind of correlated. And Alien versus Predator was such a cool toy line. Um, Back then, I didn't collect it, but I thought it was really neat. I had only seen a few of the movies. But anyway, so Star Brigade came about. Some of these were not very well made, and we'll get to look at that when we look at this Destro. So, my story for this was I was working in a store called Hot Sam. It was a pretzel shop. Our pretzels were not fresh. The dough came in frozen. We had the pretzel factory, I think it was. It was down at the other end of the mall. Pretzel maker, that's what it was. And their pretzels were fresh. And frankly, I liked the way their pretzels tasted over Hot Sam's. But I didn't eat there because I was working for a pretzel store, so it wouldn't have looked right. So I was working in this pretzel shop. We had fresh lemonade every day. I would make it. You took a case of lemons, sliced those in half, threw them in this big 10-gallon. I called it a can. A big 10-gallon container. We put 5 pounds of sugar in it. Yeah, a whole bag of sugar went in there, and filled the container up halfway with water. Well, you'd have to start off with the lemons, dump the sugar in there, and took this masher, push and rotate, push and rotate, push and rotate, until we got all the lemons juiced and mixed with the sugar. And then we would add water, and we'd push and rotate and just mix it as we added the water, and then scoop it out and put it in our display. But when we set the display up, we put the fresh lemon rinds in there, and backwards, of course, so you couldn't see that they were smashed. And that was for the aesthetics. and add flavor. So that lemonade was just simply awesome, and I that's all I drank. I didn't drink any of the soda or pop, depending on what part of the country you're from. And it was also cool that we got to eat the pretzels because they were only good for so long, and the company was saying, instead of throwing them away, we had to keep track on what they called a waste sheet. So they would get an idea of what we're selling and what's being thrown away, and then they would do an algorithm and tell us, this is how much business and this is how much you're making, so let's slow it down or let's speed it up. So the waste sheet was really important. So we would write it off on the waste sheet, and we would eat the pretzels or nachos. That's all we sold was pretzels, nachos, and drinks. And I loved it at that store. The manager was really cool. So we could see across to KB. We became really good friends with the staff over there. I would shop there, and the manager would shop there. And this was also the golden age of trading cards. There were sports cards and etc. There were kiosks. I remember 4 or 5 different kiosks at the mall that were selling trading cards. And KB was selling them by the box, so you could buy a complete series for the whole box for like $5 or $10. And I bought a complete box of G.I. Joe trading cards at the time, and I bought some football cards, and eventually ended up selling off all the football cards, and the G.I. Joe cards got lost after my divorce. Somehow I didn't end up with some of my property. So anyway, so we were friends with the folks over there. We had Miller's Outpost right next to it for just a little splash of nostalgia. Let's talk about that real quick. You guys remember Miller's, don't you? Gosh, anybody shopped at Miller's. Part was country western, and then there was another part that sold the surf brands, TNC, Surf Design, Varney France, for the skaters. I can't remember all the other brands for that department, but I remember kids would buy their 501s there. Levi 501 button fly, and they would come to school strutting around. Hey, I got my 501s at Miller's, bragging, I have money, but is their parents' money more than likely. So it was the thing to do, to wear clothes from Miller's, to wear these different designs, and the cool kids had all of that, and I didn't fall in that group. I was a nerd back then, and it was tough. I was considered a nerd anyway, because I don't know why they thought I was a nerd. Because one person said it and everybody else thought it. Because I was smart. I don't know. And I was correlating it, because I wasn't wearing the popular brands. But if they look close, I was wearing 501s. But now the nerds are popular. The nerds are reigning. It is us toy collectors. Finally. Why couldn't it have happened when I was in high school? But I bought my Destro from there. His original retail price, from KB, I'm sorry. His original retail price was $4.99, but they were selling them 2 for $5. So I was getting a smoking deal. So every payday, I got paid once a week from Hot Sam. So every payday I was running over there buying G.I. Joe. And 2 for $5, you couldn't beat that. So I got a lot of my Battle Core from there, and whatever didn't sell there within a year went to their discount store, and it was even cheaper. There was a discount mall not too far from this mall I was working at, Superstition Springs. If you ever visit Arizona, it's on Power Road and Southern, right off the freeway, off the US 60. But I would go over to the discount mall, which was called VF Factory Outlet, and you could get, name brand stuff. They had name brand stores. It was like Saks off of Fifth Avenue. That's a discount store. So I would get name brand clothes over there for half the price. So I was picking up Lee jeans for, $10. Van Heusen dress shirts for $15, and those were selling for $30 or $40. And so I stuck with the Van Heusen brand. I like the cut of it. I still wear Van Heusen. I had Van Heusen ties, blah, blah, blah. So I would shop there for my dress clothes for church. So anyway, I would buy my Joes from there. And that's where I bought a lot of my Joes as a kid too, was from that discount store. So anyway, that is my story behind this Destro, was buying him at the KB. Interesting fact, the manager there, Jay was his name. He was his great uncle was Scotty from Star Trek. He liked to keep that kind of under wraps, but he would tell a few people, and you could see the family resemblance, especially when Jay got older and when his hair turned gray. You could really see his uncle's features in that. So that was really cool. James Doohan, I think, was his name. So yeah, that was pretty cool knowing that. So they would let me in the store before they opened, and they would let me go through the cases as they were putting the stuff out on display, which was kind of dishonest of them, and I'm sure that was happening with the classified series with Cobra Island. They were going through the cases and letting their friends have it, or they were selling it online. But Target has dealt with that, and so has Hasbro. They've dealt with that problem and got it solved. But anyway, that was dishonest of them, and I participated in it, so it was dishonest of me too. So I do apologize, looking back at it. So I would show them which Joes I wanted, and I would leave the popular ones out on the shelf. I wanted kids to have a chance to get the popular action figures. And if they weren't selling when I walked in a few hours later, or at the end of my shift at 5 o'clock, and they were still on the shelves, I would buy them. But I would show them what I wanted, and they would hold them back for me. And that was Star Brigade Destro. They had a bunch of them, so it was no big deal for me. So I went in and bought them, and that blah blah blah. I still have him, but he is incomplete. My nephew lost one of the missiles and the helmet, but I do have one that's packaged. So let's go ahead and take a look at this guy. Sorry for being verbose. I know you guys like the stories. And Agnetha LaDuff specifically asked to hear the story about this one. So Agnetha, there you go. So let's go ahead and take a look at this guy. So there you go, guys. Here he is. Freshly carded. The card is damaged. It's wrinkled up in here. Somebody wrote their name on it, Matthew. So I have no problem opening this. I have a couple more of the Star Brigade that I will not open because the cards are in very good condition. But I bought these in bulk from a seller. So I got a pretty good deal on it. the price has definitely gone up since I bought this one. You can see right here, it says new lower price, $1.90. And they put the date, February 28th. And this is, I guess, their department code. If I can remember right, every retail place did something different. And yes, kids, look, it's an actual price tag. You don't see price tags anymore on things. Why? Because they didn't have the barcode system fully up and running at the time when we were growing up, and it was easy to peel a price tag off and stick it on another item, and thieves would do that. And by retail rules, they have to sell it at a lower price if they saw that there was that price tag on there. So if it was their mistake, and the customer was always right kind of thing, so they would sell it at a lower price even though they knew that kids were peeling it off. But sadly that happened, and there was no other way to get around it at that time. So now it's just barcode, and they put the price on the shelf. So yeah, actual price tag, kids. So let's look at this. You see there's Destro yelling and firing his weapon, which he does not have. This weapon is just completely artwork. It says Armor Tech right up here in Star Brigade, which overshadows G.I. Joe, and I don't really quite like that. It should be G.I. Joe Star Brigade, but as I aforementioned, they were competing with Space Toys, so they wanted people to know this was definitely for outer space. And it says Robo Armored Warrior, Cobra Tech armor, an arm launcher shoots. And I found that kind of lame, and I still do. So it has his, says Cobra the enemy. So this was a bad guy. Destro, Cobra Tech commander, which makes sense. Destro was the weapons designer for Cobra. Here on the back, everything that was available. You have Robo Joe, Duke, Rock and Roll, Heavy Duty, Destro, and the Cobra Bat. It's Battle Armored Android Trooper. He was actually my very first Bat. You could see some of the things that were available. I have both of these vehicles, with the reused Pogo and the reused Cobra Stellar Stiletto. And this was a really cool, the Ghost Striker X-16, that was available. I love that aircraft, and it's so expensive to find. And the Cobra Dominator, that was also available. So you see the price tag again. He was worth 2 flag points. So let's go ahead and read the history behind here. It says Battle Armored Warriors rocket into space with futuristically styled built-in robot armor and spring-fired missile launchers. These high-tech fighters take battle action into distant galaxies and beyond. Wow. So they go way beyond distant galaxies. Gosh, they several 100,000 light years away. G.I. Joe's Starfighter, a supersonic jet with spring action missile launcher, clashes with the Cosmic Cobra Cosmic combat against Cobra. Gosh, that's a tongue twister. Invader, which is this. And interplanetary attack pod with landing legs, opening command canopy, spring-fired launcher. Starfighter includes the sci-fi action figure. So his file card, it was no longer looking like a file folder. It was just this trading card style. It says file name, Destro James McCullen, primary Specialty cyber tech weapons dealer, secondary specialty weapons manufacturing and supply. Birthplace is Callander, Scotland. And again, it says Destro Robotech Commander has a quote here: "Someday the earth will bow at my feet and I'll drop kick it like a football." That comes from Destro. Boy, if that is not sociopathic or egocentric, narcissistic, I don't know, all these istics, I don't know what is. It says, from his new armor-plated space fortress guarded by Cobra bats, Destro builds and peddles his galactic instruments of destruction. Destro has always been G.I. Joe's worst enemy, next to Cobra Commander, of course, but Destro did side with G.I. Joe occasionally. But now that he sells his own Robotech battle armor spacesuits made from designs he stole during a raid on the G.I. Joe science lab, hence G.I. Joe has their own armor tech stuff, he's more dangerous than ever. Ooh, here in parentheses, it says the G.I. Joe scientist who developed the plans was nearly destroyed during Destro's raid, but was brought back to life as Robo Joe. Oh my gosh, Robo Joe was the scientist, and now he's cyborg. Ooh, this is pretty cool stuff. The dark and desolate dangers of space create mysterious battlefield where only the strongest and the bravest survive, so Destro's days were surely numbered. Ooh, they're numbered because the strongest and bravest survive. Destro's pretty strong and brave. He was the one that was always wanting to stand and fight while Cobra Commander ran away. So, anyway, yeah, interesting file card. So let's go ahead and get into this. This is right here, G.I. Joe live action trading card. Oh, cool. I have a few of those. Free inside, collect all 20, printed in the USSA, or the USA patent number right there. So let's go ahead and open this up. So let's go ahead and see what we got here. Well, I'm hitting that silly tray that they're sitting on. But the prices are all over the map with this guy right now. We'll cover that part and Byron's gripes. But Kirk did make mention that he was selling for $40. And you are absolutely right, Kirk. I saw one that was selling for $40 on eBay, and the price for this is actually higher. But I'm only opening this for the, well, not only for the review, but because the card back was damaged. That's kind of an interesting figure tray. So that's the only reason why I've selected these few to be opened. I do have several Joes that I will never open, and I honestly mean that will never open. Okay, so here we go. These were from the cartoons at the time. So this looks like Frostbite or Snow Job fighting with some sort of a ninja. Says G.I. Joe right there in the corner. Yeah, it's Frostbite versus Alley Viper version 2. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he's... Jeez, I gotta show this to Uncle Al E. Viper. Yeah, he's fighting an Alley Viper. I am sorry I did not notice that. But yeah, that is so cool. He's fighting one of the Yellow Jackets. So Frostbite versus Alley Viper. Mission Search and Destroy. This is card number 3. Frostbite encounters an Alley Viper who was searching the Arctic for minerals needed to power Cobra's ultimate weapon of destruction. The minerals lie somewhere below the polar ice cap. That was kind of a storyline for a plant that they needed. Remember that one where the Baroness used a perfume to overpower men? So this mineral's below the polar ice cap. First, Frostbite knows he has to stop Cobra from discovering them in order to halt the weapon's completion. And this also is starting to sound like the mass device story. Alley Vipers can be tough street fighters. You're darn right, because I am one. In their own environment. I am tough. I'd kick your butt anywhere. Not really. I'm a pacifist. But the frozen tundra and Frostbite's territory, he doesn't plan on letting the Viper get by without a few lessons of Arctic warfare. When starting your collection, it is good to begin with a collector's guide that lists all the items made on an early basis. So this is a really cool card. I'm going to put it in a bag with Destro. That is really awesome. I'm very happy that I opened this up. And what's else? G.I. Joe wants to hang out with you. Free poster offer inside. Look at that. Yeah, live action poster. You have Snake Eyes, Frostbite, Duke, Scarlet, Gung Ho, a couple other guys. When the G.I. Joe movie, The Rise of Cobra, was announced, I thought it was going to be cheap looking like this was right here. These just look like a bunch of cosplayers, and they could have been. They could have used cosplayers for that poster, which is pretty cool. But it's 18 by 24 inch, and you would fill this out and send it in. So this stuff sells on eBay as well, but I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to hang on to it, and I'm going to hang on to this sticker too. I'm going to cut this part out because it is actually a part of the promotion. So, sorry. Here on the card back has instructions on how to put Destro on his figure stand, but kids were more intelligent than this. They knew how to work toys. And it shows you how to work the missile launcher and how to put the helmet on. I don't know why they did that. I mean, it's really an insult to the intelligence of a child. So let's look at Destro here. It's very lightweight, hollow construction. You can see that there is a hole for a screw, but you can look right down in there. There is no screw. Maybe a backpack could fit in there, but these are all sonic welded. It's a one-piece body. Articulation is very limited. So if you don't have any of these and you have Deep 6 version 1, this is kind of like Deep 6, but with a little more articulation. You have the vac, I'll try to get that in focus. You have a vac metallized chrome head, which only turns a little bit. Does not go up and down. He does have one arm that does move. Elbows bend. I like that. He has spikes right here. When my little brother and I would play, we would have them use those spikes to punch with. He has a fixed hand and a fist, and those do not rotate. His legs go out so far. They don't go back, but his knees do bend. Part chrome painted and part gray plastic. His upper arm, try to focus that, there we go. His upper arm is made out of this silver plastic that kind of sparkles. And you can see down on his legs which applications, where the paint apps are on this. And this plastic also sparkles a bit. I hope that shows up on camera. But this is the part that I found incredibly stupid. I thought, do they not have arms anymore? Now, why is that dusty? That is really odd. This was a sealed action figure, but it has dust on it. Huh. I wonder if there was like a slight... I'll have to look at that more. Oh, that could... No. I wonder if the seller just sealed these back up. As that would be the only reason why he would have dust on it. And that's probably why I got them so cheap, because the seller had them on display. Interesting. But anyway, there's Destro. Very neat looking action figure. Here's his helmet. It does have this visor, which is painted on and has eye holes, and the rest is clear. And that just snaps on. You have to put it on backwards to get it to lock on. And you could rotate it around or keep it there on the clear side, which I did. So you could see his face. But that dust really has me intrigued. But the accessories were still kept on the weapons tree, which I'm not going to remove. These really didn't need a figure stand. They could stand up pretty well on their own. So he did come with a gray figure stand. It came with this pistol that was used for the Iron Grenadier, which, kind of makes sense with Destro, but they overused this pistol, and I do not like the design of that pistol. I just don't. For some reason, it rubs me the wrong way. They overused it, and that just makes me sick. This was Voltar's submachine gun, Sci-Fi version 2. This was his gun. This was Snake Eyes version 3. This was his submachine gun. And it had a hook on the end of it for some reason. This knife originally came with the Hydro Viper, so that was reused. And he came with 2 missiles for his missile launcher. Kirk, you did ask me a question if I still had the 1987 Storm Shadow. I answered back, but I'll answer you in the video. I have him. I did review him, and it's opened, but that's the only version I have. That's the one I had from when I was a kid. So I appreciate you offering to make a trade with me. But I'm going to hold on to that one. I do have that same sculpt. It looks almost the same. That was done for Fun School. I have that one complete. He's unopened. So if you're interested in making a trade for that one, I will. I don't have a problem with that. Don't have any emotional ties to it. He does look like everything is the same. You could tell by the feel that the plastic is a little different. But here we go. There's Destro and his rocket shooting arm. Again, I found this to be ridiculous. It looks like they only have one arm. But the detail on this isn't too terrible. Just the detail on the figure isn't bad. These are pretty lightweight. I'm sure if you would throw them in the water, they would float for a little bit, but water would get into where the joints are. So as the pressure from the water on the outside would cause the air to displace, and it would suck water up inside. So this wouldn't make a good diver. But there you have it. There's Destro. Thank you for requesting this action figure to be reviewed. He is really cool. Gee, my jaw's still sore. Talking is really bothering it. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that review. Very cool action figure. That does bring back a lot of good memories. I even had him set up in a diorama in my house at the time. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into my favorite segment, Byron's Gripes. Yes, yes, yes. This guy is not uncommon to find loose or carded. Instead of in earlier years when they would just slowly trickle the Joes in over a period of 1 to 3 years, they just slammed the market that whole year with these action figures. So finding them packaged is still pretty common because adult collectors were buying them. People around my age were buying them and keeping them, knowing that the value would go up. And then G.I. Joe petered out, but for 2 years they didn't make anything, and then 97 they picked up again. But there were still fan clubs going on at the time, and so G.I. Joe was still very much in the hearts of collectors. So if you are looking for this guy on the aftermarket, he is out there. There are quite a few of them. His missile is not $1.99 to $2.12. $2.12 is a little much, but yeah, it's still a good price. But $1.99 is your standard price for these missiles. Just by himself, no accessories, bare bones. 1984, $19.84, or better offer to $6.95. I would pay the $6.95 and just pick up his accessories as you go. $6.95 is deal of the day on that one. It's not like this guy is rare. Carded, one for $39.99 or better offer. There's one for $45.16. Another one for $45. There's one for $34.99 or better offer. So I'll put that one with deal of the day. One for $74.99 or better offer. And another one for $75. Really? I mean, going up into the 70s for this. Yeah, for a vintage figure, I mean, that, especially late in the series, no, really, guys, no. If this was from the 80s, oh heck yeah, that would be a fantastic price. But we're talking the mid 90s, guys. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. I forgot to throw in my little disclaimer. I do this for those of you just joining. I do this for entertainment value only. I don't do it to pick on a seller. That's not what I'm about. I use eBay just for the mere convenience. There are several other sites that sell G.I. Joe. I visited those sites, and the prices are much different. They're just more expensive on eBay due to its popularity and convenience. It has its own apps. I know Etsy has its own app now, and you can find them on Etsy. But I don't pick on the sellers or eBay at all. That's not what this is about. I do scoff at the prices and joke about them because some of these are just absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion. So there's my disclaimer. 3 of his guns. It was Snake Eye's machine gun, Sci-Fi's gun, and Voltar's gun. 3 for $10. That's perfect. That's deal of the day because you could buy the loose Destro and buy his accessories. There were a few of the loose ones that were incomplete, so that would be the route to go. Is buy the one with the most accessories and add to it and do a build on budget kind of thing. you know, I found that to be cost saving on the more expensive items, but watch your shipping. Shipping will get you. And now eBay's charging taxes for certain states, so you got to watch out for that as well. So the guns, 3 for $10. His file card goes from $5.99, and there was another one for $9.99. As far as file cards go, that's a pretty okay price. A lot of these card backs got thrown away because kids just did that. They just rip open. They wanted the toy. They didn't want to keep the card back, but there were a few that did. So file cards, yeah, that's okay. Those are a deal of the day. So there you have it, guys. I really appreciate you tuning in. I love doing this. I love hearing back from you guys. That is the highlight of my day, and the highlight of doing these reviews is hearing back. That's my favorite part. I've cultivated a lot of friendships from this. You know, it's been fun. These past 6 years has been great. I've enjoyed it immensely, and I hope to continue doing these for years to come. I'm trying to get a set schedule at work. That way I could have a set day when these come up, and I could let you guys know. But if I want a set day, I have to try to figure out how to set it up as a premiere, so when it's timed, it'll take off on that day. But anyway, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you to the voters for selecting Destro. That just brought back a lot of really good memories of working at Hot Sam and my buddies at KB Toys, and just memories of that mall back in its golden age of when they had kiosks that weren't selling junk, but kiosks that were selling really good things, and stores, all the stores were open, and there wasn't a space available. But now, you know, the anchor stores are closing down and malls are slowly dying off, which just breaks my heart. So our grandkids might not get a chance to enjoy malls, or great-grandchildren. So that breaks my heart. But they won't know, because they don't know what they're missing because it's not there. So anyway, you guys take care, stay safe out there. Remember, be kind to everyone. You never know what kind of day somebody is having. And, you know, be kind to your animals. They know nothing but unconditional love. So you guys stay safe. Please be careful out there, especially right now with the states getting flooded. Just be prepared for that. The tornado season's coming up too, and hurricane season. So the summer is just wicked. And if you visit Arizona and you want to go hiking, please bring a lot of water with you. You are not acclimated to our harsh environment. It gets up into 120 out here. So the best time would be very early in the morning, I'd say 5 o'clock, and plan to be off the mountain by 9, because you'll be in the hundreds by 9 o'clock. So set a time for your hike. That's the best advice I could give you outside of bringing water. Stay on the trail. That way you could avoid snakes. So you guys take care. Be safe. Love to see you all someday. So hopefully that'll happen. So take care. We'll see you until then. It's Joe Motion Videos 82 saying love, peace, and armor tech grease. Bye-bye.